Hi y'all, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Shirley. Let's talk about how I got my fancy corporate job post law school. If you're new here, I grew a platform on TikTok. It's getting banned. I hope not. But please subscribe because we're only like 20 subscribers away from $1,000. I wish from 1,000 subscribers. So hit the subscribe button right now. Yeah, happy to talk about my experience on how I got this job and
Am I recording? I don't know. Oh, I am. If you see anything different, I am actually using a new camera setup. I'm really happy to be able to afford like really expensive video gear because if y'all know, am I come from a working class family. I actually still live with my family if you could hear them in the background. Hopefully not with this little mic. And so this video will be about just like how I've been able to get to where I'm at. And I'm really privileged to be able to make over six figures, to be able to be a law graduate and be part of a very prosperous career. So, yeah, let's talk about it. You know what? I'm running some errands with my papa. So I think when it comes down to how I've been able to kind of get to where I'm at, I think I need to go all the way back. And if you've seen that video of my law school journey and how I decided to go to law school, then you would kind of know a little bit. Let's start from high school. So high school me, I did get good grades for the most part. Went to college, had no idea what I wanted to do. I did not think at all I wanted to be a lawyer. Thought I wanted to be an English traveling teacher, and then quickly realized that that was not the path for me because my English classes were brutal and just I was not interested. Took a political science class thanks to my girl Brooklyn, my friend. Shout out to you. And then I had a bunch of political internships. Oh, my dad is coming. So we'll resume this. But how would you describe me in college? How was I in college? Speaking to
Okay,
the mic.
Shirley is being very, ¿cómo se dice? Juiciosa. How do you say juiciosa?
Like discipline.
Disciplined with her things. Homework, projects, always working ahead of time,
Uh-huh.
which I think I've seen it, so I don't have to lie.
Hmm.
Same thing when she was in high school,
Yeah.
she was doing the same thing. So
Yeah.
when she left home, I believed in her. She was gonna do the best.
Oh.
So Shirley,
Yeah.
you basically are an example for the other people that don't want to study. Good.
Yeah.
That's it.
So basically I was always a good student even in high school, college. I kind of struggled a bit for like my first year cuz it was like a huge adjustment, but I managed to do a lot of internships. Also, I do want to shout out my parents because they really told me to do school first. They really told me to just like focus on school. Also, if you see my North Face is a little dirty, I'm sorry. The makeup on it, I feel embarrassed now. But so they really told me to like focus in school first. So that's why I was able to do a lot of internships, and most of those internships were unpaid, unfortunately. Let's be real. And then we'll continue to part two of this discussion.
so I'm back. I'm about to do my makeup. I hate wearing glasses and there's an imprint. Not annoying. But anyways, so let's get to it. So I'm in college, right? I'm getting these internships and I'm sharing because I kind of want to like lay it down for y'all in terms of how hard it was after college, even with the internships that I had the New York Attorney General's office internship. I had interning for Senator Schumer. If you're from New York, you know. And I had also a local congressman in my district where I was interning. And as well, I had been selected for a legal internship that my school annually selects. It's very competitive. I think about 10 students get it. And I still, after college in 2018, 2018, early 2018, I struggled finding a job. I think I was home back in New York City, in Brooklyn for a month, I think. Let me get my makeup. Hold up. Struggled. Also, the reason why I label, hope you could see it, I label my makeup is because I have a sister and we have kind of similar complexion, skin tone, and she really be stealing all my stuff. Yeah, it is so hard out here. So I graduated college and I was still struggling with the LSAT at this point. So I told myself, okay, I need money. I need to pay rent at my parents'. I also am from New York, Brooklyn, New York City. So I came back home. Mind you, I went to upstate New York for college. So that was kind of like my experience. Like, yo, it's mad expensive here. Like, I really need to pay off my college loans. I need to. So I looked for jobs, look everywhere. I was applying for paralegal jobs, mostly at nonprofits, because that's kind of the work that I wanted to do right after college, and landed a temporary paralegal position with a big immigration firm. And I was there as a temp for a while. Oh my god. My boyfriend, I told him, I don't know why I told him to do this, but I told him to organize my makeup. And I don't know how this is organizing it for me. Like, he really just threw everything in there. There's just no sense. And this is my fault for telling him to do this for me, because now I'm like struggling to find everything. I need to redo it. But anyway, so basically started working as a paralegal and then got hired as a full-time paralegal at that firm, and then wanted to kind of switch it up. So then I took on kind of like advocacy paralegal intake role at a nonprofit, a small grassroots nonprofit. And then I stayed there for a year and then went to work at a large civil nonprofit, civil legal services nonprofit, and it was unionized, and I worked as a hotline paralegal. From there, I transferred internally to another department within that large civil services legal organization, and I did, like, I was an immigration paralegal finally. Like, I felt like that's where I wanted to be, because I wanted to be an immigration attorney. And throughout this time, the reason why I had to keep working is because, like, rent and my loans, and I was studying for the LSAT, and I didn't have the privilege to, like, not work. But in a way, it helped me a ton, actually, to kind of get that legal experience. I definitely feel like doing know your rights presentations, like putting yourself out there, answering. When I was a hotline paralegal, I was answering the phones like for so long. Yeah, and so it just kind of made me kind of grow up, or just get working experience that honestly law school doesn't teach you. That's the real tea. But oh my god, I'm so annoyed that I can't find anything. Oh look, I found this. I guess I found it. That was kind of like my last full-time job before law school. So prior to going to law school, I had already had 3 years of legal experience. I worked as an full-time immigration paralegal up until my second semester of law school. And because I entered law school as an evening student, so I wanted to ideally go to law school part-time as an evening student and continue on my full-time immigration paralegal job. But the thing is, like, I felt really burnt out, and just like my sister moved back in, and it all just kind of like worked out to my benefit. So I decided to quit my full-time job and start going to law school full-time. But of course, I still needed the money. So while I gave up my full-time employment job, I started networking like crazy. And that's why networking is just like so important. And I got immigration part-time paralegal job. I didn't work that many hours. But I was in Queens, like I was going in person and I was going to law school. I think that semester, oh my god, my contacts. So this was like my 1L year. I literally like I don't know how I did this. I just like transitioned out of my job and started working at a different place with a solo immigration lawyer. Then for my 2L year, I took on like such a huge load. That was the worst semester. I was taking evidence, civil procedure, constitutional law, administrative law, like all in one semester. I don't know how I survived that semester. And I was going through a breakup, which is, if you know, you know. So that semester I didn't work. I just realized it was just gonna be too much to even work, and I'm so grateful and privileged that I was able to do that because my sister was still living at home with us, with me and my family. Shout out to my sister, because I would have not been able to kind of like switch around and do all this without her financial support. Heading into 2020, se rompió, mírenlo, bro. 2022. I'm sorry, my timeline. I started working for another solo immigration practitioner, and it was still really convenient as well because he allowed me to work remote. I loved working from home and being able to do that. And as you could tell, most of my positions are immigration related. And apart from the big law firm that I worked for in the beginning of, right after I graduated law school, I didn't work for a big firm anytime. Like all of these experiences were like either nonprofit or with a solo practitioner. And that's because I didn't want to work that many hours. And I felt like I also needed the flexibility. And I think working for a solo directly provided me that. So I worked with him up until summer of 2023. I should say early 2023, I started really thinking about my next steps in my career, and honestly started to feel really burnt out by immigration. Like I felt like since 2018, I worked in immigration law, and I wanted to give myself honestly the chance to think about something else, right? Like I also felt so burnt out by law school. Law school was so difficult for me, and I kind of just wanted, I had also learned about transactional law, and I was like, bro, I really can't be going to court. Like I envisioned my life being fully remote or hybrid in the future. Definitely not in the beginning years of practicing. I'm like emotionally burnt out, physically burnt out. And so I started to hustle my way to getting an internship in trust and estates. And I think this is because for me personally, especially during the pandemic when I worked as a hotline paralegal, a lot of people were losing their homes, and I am very, very passionate about financial literacy. And I think like I found it really interesting. Like this the spring semester of 2023, I even took a wills, trust and estates class at my school, and I loved it. So I like hustled. Oh my god, it was like it was taking me forever to find an internship, even to the point where I was just like, I'm gonna just apply to any internship at this point, because I was not hearing back from anyone. And I think it's because I feel like maybe the nonprofits were kind of like, we don't know if this girl is like nonprofit focused, because she worked at these small law firms, also like small law firms in trust and estates were not answering because I had no trust and estates experience. And also I was trying to get into like boutique or mid-sized firms, and they do not hire they do not have legal internships for the most part, from what I gathered when I was trying to like freaking apply. And gracias a Diosito, en un momento a otro, I got connected with someone through the research project. Oh my god, mi pelo. Through some research project that I was a part of in school relating to like trust and estates work for immigrant families. And then I got news that I got the internship. It was at a small law firm, not a solo. It was like a small law firm of maybe 5-6 attorneys. Don't quote me. And that is like when I first started to get into the area of like transactional, even though I wouldn't say trust and estates completely transactional, because there could be issues with the administrative like proceeding of an estate. There could be probate, and there's a lot of areas in that field that you could like literally draft documents and never set foot in a courtroom. So that's kind of like what interests me. I was with that firm, I kid you not, until the next year. Like I had such a good experience with them, and I just was like super welcomed. I loved my experience at that firm. I asked them like by the end of the year, heading into 2024, heading into the year that I graduate, right, if they would take me on as an associate. And it just, unfortunately, there was no capacity at that time. I think with small firms it's very tricky, right? Taking on a new associate to your growing practice is a tricky decision. So I completely understand that I remain working there past that. And then I started to apply for jobs post grad, and I was like super scared. Honestly, I was not hearing back because I had this limited experience in trust and estates, and none of the big firms. I feel like I applied to some big firm jobs because I was desperate. I just like didn't know where to go. Like the job market, I feel like literally since 2008 has been horrible. So I was also applying to nonprofits. They didn't want me at all because they saw that I had worked for law firms like the last 2 years, and they're like, so I was too like private for nonprofits, and for like big firms or small firms, I just was like, it was too competitive, or I just didn't have an in. I wasn't a summer associate. I was just like, so I was like stuck. I felt stuck, and I was very, very worried up until randomly one day. I don't know when it was. Okay, I'm gonna put the month here. I got a message on LinkedIn from a recruiter, and it was from this company and insurance company, and I was just like, what? Like, I honestly didn't take it seriously because I was like, whatever, I've been reached out by recruiters and like it doesn't go anywhere usually. And then it did go somewhere, like literally like months later. I don't know what was the timeline, but then I heard back, and then I got my first interview with my now boss. And that interview was so funny because I was like running late, and that never happens to me. I don't know why. I was just like doing so much that day. And then like I like apologized, of course, and then we kind of laughed, and we just had such a good chemistry. Like he was so like serious, but he was just like very real with me. Like, I don't know. And he's like that still to this day. But I just remember my first interview, and he just like, we had like a chill conversation. And then I told him, by that time I had a offer from another firm. And so I told him that, and I told them like, you know, they needed to get back to me sooner than later because I have this pending offer. And then they did, actually, like literally in a week from when was my first interview to the following week, I got an offer. But this took like 3 rounds of interviews, and just like there's a lot of coordination for those interviews. And then when they sent me my offer, it was, let's see how much it was. 90. It was like 40,000 more. I can't remember. It was about 40,000 more than my pending offer. It was a significant amount. Working a non-traditional job after law school was not in the cards for me. I don't think anyone decides to go to law school and not practice. I mean, some people do, which kudos to you. But I always imagined myself being an immigration attorney and then a trust and estates attorney. I had no idea. And that was one of the questions actually that was brought up to my interview, like, would you miss the practice of law? Like, you're working at a company, like, would you like desire that? And I seriously, like, just based on my entire experience, like, yes, I had only worked at these law firms, these nonprofit these nonprofits as a paralegal, but I knew the environment and I had worked very closely with attorneys, and I knew for the most part it was like very long hours. It was emergency over emergency over emergency, and I kind of just wanted to like chill. And that's why also I wanted to work mostly for nonprofits when I was applying, or for judgeships or for clerkships at a courthouse, because I knew like strictly those jobs were 9 to 5 unless there was like an absolute emergency. Honestly, like one of the selling points at my company, like they and in my role there's a lot of attorneys. My whole team is they're attorneys, and they all went to law school, they all passed the bar. Like that was one of the selling points, honestly. They're like, work-life balance, you're getting paid 6 figures, which is very well compensated, I feel, for this role. I accepted my offer. I started in August, and I've been at the company for close to 5 months, I think. And it has been such a blessing. I really do like the work that I do, especially now that I'm like comprehending it. And I feel like me and my boss, we have such a good relationship. Like, he is very hands-on in terms of teaching me things. And oh my god, my lips are cracked. Like, he just is very understanding, has been really accommodating, especially as someone who's like very new, and this is my first job in insurance. I've been really blessed with just like really supportive colleagues, and I have weekly meetings with my boss, and so I feel really blessed. Like, even though I'm not a practicing lawyer and I work in insurance claims for this multinational company, I feel very well compensated. I feel every time I walk into the office, once again, I'm like, gracias Diosito, because it just, honestly, it does make a difference for me, at least. Like, just like the privileges that I have, like through having a work phone, through having like an office badge, like it's just like those small things, like me as someone who like comes from a working class background, makes all the difference. So
hi y'all, I forgot to mention, I was filming this video right before I was heading off to see my law school friends. If you saw that video on my Instagram and TikTok, you would know. So I kind of wanted to, like, I feel like I left things like just abruptly. Like, that is not how the video should have ended. As you could tell, I had a lot of legal experience before law school, during law school, up until like now where I'm at. And I truly feel like all of that experience was super valuable in determining my salary for my job. Like, they told me like my salary range, and they told me the level. Like, I'm like at a like there's 4 levels at my company, and I am kind of in like the 3rd level, like second. The 4th one is the highest like of experience, and I'm at the 3rd. So they really accounted my experience for what it was, which I really am appreciative of. I know other legal services providers count just like practicing legal experience, but no, they considered all of my legal experience. And so that's why I was in this step, and also how they determine my salary, and also it helped in determining what I'm worth, which is a 6-figure salary, right? That's one point. 2 is that was highlighted in my interview. Actually, they liked that I had a lot of legal experience, and I was a paralegal as well. And also, just because of the role, it was really important to have someone who didn't mind doing administrative work. And so, being that I was a paralegal, they saw like, oh wow, like she will be good at this job. And it showed as well, which I love that they highlighted this in my interview, that I was working all throughout law school. For the most part, except that one semester that I didn't work at all.
I was working and I still maintain like a 3.922. Like, acknowledge that, and they told me like that shows that not only you're organized, but you're really smart, you're really dedicated to your work, and you're able to handle multiple responsibilities. That was like really nice for them to like highlight. And so like all of that matter. Like, I will say for a fact, what has led me to this point, to this job, is my legal experience, my GPA, I would say, because it was highlighted, and just like honestly, like, period, my work ethic. Like, my work ethic, like, all those experiences has led me to here. So I'm really thankful. I will say I didn't do moot court. I didn't do law review. I was a mentor for like this like mentorship writing program at my school. That's kind of like one thing that I did. Another thing that I did was I was an e-board member for my LAWSA chapter in my school. But yeah, I didn't do law review or moot court because for me, I focus on paid working experience. I had already so much legal experience prior to law school, so I didn't feel the need to like do law review or moot court to like add that to my resume, if that makes sense. Anyways, I'm happy to share my experience. I hope this is valuable in some way. I think it just goes to show you never know where life takes you, and everything that you do, like, moving forward, is a stepping stone to where you want to go. And honestly, I would have never imagined myself in this field. I never would have imagined like working at a company after law school, but here we are. God said this path is for you, and I'm really liking insurance claims for what it is, and I'm gonna stay here for who knows how long, but definitely will definitely like my work-life balance at least. Anyways, thank you so much for tuning in to this video. If you liked it, please, or if you have additional questions, definitely comment below. But subscribe, please. We're almost at 1,000 subscribers. Love y'all.